now we are in the second session of the chapter Acid, Bases and Salt. And today I'm going to tell you what are acids and what are bases. So you might be listening this word acids from 7th class, and we were taught about acids, bases and salt in 7th classes as well. But now I'm going to teach you and recall everything again. So acid is a type of compound. So first it's a compound which has hydrogen in it. It has hydrogen. So what's special about this hydrogen which makes it into an acid? An acid has a sour taste and it's corrosive in nature. That means that if you taste it, it's sour in taste. And if you take a strong acid and put it on someone, then his skin, his clothes would be burnt off. So what makes the hydrogen in its acids and these acids so powerful that they can do such things and they are so sour and bitter in taste? Actually, this hydrogen separates out as H plus ions when added to water. So for example, if an acid, there is H2SO4, or we can take HCl plus water will give us H plus ions and Cl minus ions. So H plus ions would come out from the hydrogen in acids. It's not necessary that all substances which contain hydrogen are acids, because the important property of acid is that when this hydrogen is added to water, it separates out as H plus ions, or simplifying it better, I can say that H plus ions plus water, and these cannot just come out as H plus ions without water, they need to be added to the water, is equals to H3O plus ions. So you see that this and this is the same thing. And acids will show their property only when they are added to water, because their H plus ions have to come off, and need not every substance containing hydrogen is acid, because their H plus ions don't come off. So we are gonna just I'm just gonna tell you some two activities which you can do to first to see that every substance which contains hydrogen is not an acid, and the second thing is that the without and water, an acid is an acid is not an acid. It won't show the properties of an acid. It would be a neutral substance without water. So let's go on to some activities. So first let's do our first plan activity. I'm gonna just dictate this activity in brief. So first I'm gonna tell you the activity that every substance containing hydrogen is not an acid. So you can do this. You already know that acids conduct electricity because they have some H plus ions, so that they can conduct electricity. They can conduct electricity because of the presence of the H plus ions. So if the hydrogen containing substances conduct electricity, that means they are acids. So what we are going to do here is that take a solution of alcohol. So it's alcoholic solution. Alcohol. We are going to just take this solution of alcohol and take an dilute sulfuric acid solution as well. So it's a sulfuric solution. And when we try to pass electricity from both the substances, do you know what happened? Sulfuric acid solution actually conducted electricity because it had the H plus ions, and alcohol could not conduct the electricity because it did not have the H plus ions. This shows that you need H plus ions, not hydrogen, to make a substance an acid. The next thing is that whether an acid would be an acid without water or not. And now we are going to verify this with an activity. So first we are going to take a beaker and suspend a gas tube. Just fix a gas tube, I'm sorry, not suspend. And in this beaker, we are going to put some NaCl plus H2SO4. So we know that HCl gas would be released. So when HCl gas would be released, HCl is a type of acid. So then you try and put a litmus paper along in this tube when the air comes out from this tube, and try and test it with a blue litmus paper. You'll see that the blue litmus paper remains blue. Why does this happen? This happened because we did not have some water. Now just wetten the blue litmus paper and try this experiment again. This time the blue litmus paper would turn to red litmus paper. This will happen because the acid shows its acidic properties only in the presence of water, because then only it can separate out as H plus ions. So when a wetted moisturized tissue is left into that HCl gas, then it has been provided with water, and so you can see its acidic properties. Next we are going to discuss what is a base. A base is bitter in taste, or we say karwa. It's bitter in taste. That means it's horrible in taste. Just the opposite of acids. Acids were sour, they are bitter, and they are soapy to touch. That means you feel like something bubbly and soapy when you touch these. So they are soapy to touch. What makes them like this? So first, what makes them like this? They are just a compound. What makes them bitter and soapy to touch? That is the separation of OH minus ions, that is the hydroxide ions, when they are added to water. So they are just a compound, and when they are added to water, they give out OH minus ions, or the hydroxide ions, which make them a base, as same as acid. So I think you have understood what are acids and bases, and in the next session I'm going to teach you what are the properties of acids and bases and what are weak and strong bases and acids.